One day I'm going from LA to New York City. I'm meeting Sylvester, Stallone to Andy Cohen. And the next day I had nothing.
This is Scott Proposki, who shot for National Geographic and the White House for 28 years, built a multi-million-dollar business in sales, then lost everything overnight, and spent 3 years in silence before rebuilding from nothing. I'm Gabe Marushka, and this is Authority in the Wild. Scott, what you just shared to literally lose everything overnight, can you get me back to that moment and share what actually happened?
I think we're all familiar with something called the COVID-19 pandemic.
Unfortunately.
Hey, listen, in the course of history, you had the Great Depression in the United States, right? In the 1930s, you had the Spanish flu that went on. You had all sorts of basically pandemics of some sorts, as well as 9/11 in the United States. And these are all life-altering events that it happened, and it's going to happen again. And the question is, are we prepared? And I wasn't. So I went from going a mile a minute towards just launched my second book to get the call about something called a virus. And it was like, what are you talking about? Global pandemic? What's that? To fully understand within 24 hours what all that meant. Because basically I picked up my computer, all my stuff, brought it to the dock office, loaded my truck up, and I knew I was done.
Yeah, because when you're like locked down, like what to photograph, right? And back then you mentioned you weren't prepared. And obviously it's in theory hard to prepare when it comes to your type of business back then for such an event like a pandemic. But if you are like to roll back the time, how you will do things differently in order to be prepared for such a situation?
I can't prepare. And people say, how, I mean, you were a photographer. Some people came back, any business. Some people came back, they pivoted, right? It depends on what size business you are. Sometimes it's just a little bit faster to shut that faucet off. So it's just not leaking out, just draining out, right? And the one decision I would have made is to make the call to figure out if I'm all in or I'm all out. And if you remember the pandemic happened, we didn't know what was really going to happen. And time went on. But if you remember correctly, the following year in 2021, it still came out a little bit. You know, it was around Q3 and Q4. People started to stall off again. That's when I knew there was no point of return.
Why?
Because I should have made a decision to go all in or all out. And all out I did do, but it wasn't the right decision, honestly, looking back. The right decision would have been saying in the moment and figure it out versus just stop it. You can't just stop. And that's what I did. But the world, we were programmed to stop. It's a pandemic. You got to stop. Go home. Don't do anything. And I shouldn't have stopped. I should have kept going. Different ways of doing things. Online, video, people pivoted to look at the coaching industry, right? It's everything's done on video conferencing. It wasn't like that in 2019. The norm became this. The calls that we're doing, the coaching programs that coaching has exploded. People want information. They want to know. They want to learn from other people. In the Zoom technology, everybody's camera focused on the camera on Zoom in the world. And I should have just stayed and pivoted and changed the way we were doing. Yeah, we weren't having any big events. Yeah, I wasn't going back to the White House. Yes, the Patriots weren't doing another big event because of people there. Absolutely. But some did come back. Again, can't go back in time. And I think that's the biggest shift that I did. I let it all go. It took me 3 years to figure it out. I had a great business. It was 28 years. It was a great run. It was amazing. And that was the difficult part. And I came to terms with letting it go. And the only way I can move forward in the future is to plan a better future. And that was the thing that I shifted over that time. I had to realize what just happened. Deal with that crisis in my own way. But then I had to figure out what I wanted to do. Before I could do that, I had to let it go. You just got to let it go. It's only money. It's business. I'm not the only one. Other people have done it. And honestly, I'm at a point in my life where it's like, I can actually make this bigger now than my original plan.
But speaking of letting go, Because you mentioned there were just money. It was really that, or was more like yourself being attached to the identity that you had?
Well, you 100% right there. It was the identity, right? I mean, I'm in this so deep that it's not about money. It's my identity, right? Um, I'm proud of it, but this is who I am. This is what I do. I was a photographer, National Geo, worked at HBO, and the list goes on to Microsoft TV Guide, Sports Illustrated. Right? It went on. It was just part of my life. It became the norm, right? And I didn't know anything else. And when it gets taken away, um, you're like, hey, I like that life over there. This one I'm really uncomfortable in, right? And it was just accepting the change, right? Accepting meaning let it go. And perhaps you listen to this. I talk to a lot of photographers, and I feel like they've been like the core people that have had a big, big psychological and physical and financial problem about letting things go because things are not the same in the photography industry. It's not.
Especially now, it's another type of big shift that is happening with AI, in which people are like having headshots and so on just done by AI without needing a photographer. And not only that, but I think this conversation is even more valid right now when a lot of people lose that identity related to their job or their business and so on, and AI taking over maybe, or having to reinvent themselves and so on. So I'd like to ask you, like, what that process looked like for you. Like, what made you, what you have you found a lifeline, or a direction?
No, I remember very clearly. After 3 years of just walking away and being silent, literally everything and everybody, I had a call with my business coach. Got back in touch with them and had a call. And I'm not the one to be whining, complaining. I don't actually. I'm always very visionary, right? And at this particular day, I was actually commenting on people online, YouTube and Instagram, that photographers were claiming that they could help other photographers and they had the solution. Perhaps they did. Perhaps they did. But I believe it's only bragging rights till after you do it. And I did it. I was the top 1%. I lived it for 28 years. From the White House to National Geo to my local events, I had bragging rights. And my coach turned to me and said, Scott, why don't you do something about it? Those words shifted my whole outlook. And I had a new mission. And he was right. I had to do something about it. The mission was to help other people with good, accurate information of the experiences that I've had. And honestly, it's identity where I have a lot of great stories that I can share with other people. And it's not about me. It's the stories to let people know that you can do it too if you're willing to look and feel. You got to have that mind shift, right? When you talk to somebody that's already been there, a place where you want to go, it's so powerful. And where can you go in today's world versus years ago? Hey, I want to talk to a corporate photographer that worked for National Geo, went to the White House. How can I get on a call with them and have a quick conversation? There's not that many people you can do that with. I'm one of them.
Yes, indeed, because it's one thing to talk about things and another to actually live them and be there and doing that. And I think that's a lot of things people miss when they're searching for help and direction. Instead of like just speaking of AI tools, just asking an AI tool or talk to someone that walk the talk. And it's much more easier to get there by being guided by those that live that experience. And if you, let's go a bit back more in time, like how that even come to life, to work with the likes of National Geographic, shooting for the White House and so on.
How was that experience? Well, it's kind of interesting because I already had it in my mind. It was a vision that I was already going to do it. When it actually came in and I was doing it, I remember a moment in time I actually stopped and said, wow, this is exactly what I visioned. I'm in it. I drink the Kool-Aid. I drink the Kool-Aid on what's your vision Who's your perfect avatar? What's the names? What's the detail? Who's your perfect client? What does that look like? Where, when, how? Details, details, details. And I did that for most of my life, and the details and the details, getting to the White House. What am I going to do? How am I going to do it? Over and over again in my mind. That when the time came, I already lived it. It may sound powerful for some people, and it is. Maybe not for others. But if you can't believe it, you can't sell it.
And yes, but in the same time, what led to that? Because I know how powerful it is to visualize yourself in that situation, but what were the steps you took in order to get there? How did you make it happen?
Surrounding myself with the right people, right? So when I was in my coaching program, this is years ago, I signed up for a coaching program, $10,000, and it's 4 days, right? One of the best investments I've ever made, because the people in that room, I learned more from being in that room with people that just thought differently. And it's so powerful. I mean, can I share a story with you?
Of course.
I was in a very high end corporate business coaching program. I went into different ones. I upgraded. This was a $20,000 4 day coaching program. Okay? I signed up. I'm like, gosh, Scott, this is a big check to write. I don't know if I did the right thing on this one. And I'm like, well, I'm in now. I might as well just keep going. And it was the first day. And I'm in this room. Room's full. And we're going around doing introductions of, hi, my name is so-and-so. This is what I do. And halfway through the room, and I'm listening to people and like, hi, this is me. I'm doing STEM research. I've donated a hospital to the West Wing, and we're going to solve cancer in 24 months. Like, we're talking like one person was like building a rocket ship. Like, okay, I'm not even kidding, right? These are big, wild, big dreamers, and they're doing it, right? And then it comes to me, and I'm nervous. Scott, introduce yourself. Who are you? And I got up and I said, hi, my name is Scott Proposki. I'm a photographer. And one of my biggest clients is taking pictures of Santa Claus and doing Santa Claus photos. Well, it was a quite substantial account. I was working with we had 10 locations doing Santa Claus photos, like what you would see in a mall, right? And that's where the 52 people came in. And we're doing 6 figures per location. It was pretty substantial. But I came across like, I take pictures of Santa Claus as a photographer. And there was a pause, silence in the room. And somebody, which I was really surprised, somebody in the back of the room goes, what's next? The Easter Bunny? And everybody chuckled. And there was a pause. Like, what is Scott going to say now? Right. And I said, it's interesting you say that, because that's exactly how I got into the Santa Claus business, because I did it for President Obama in the White House. One of the biggest events in history, the Easter egg roll that's been around for 150 years. That's where I started. And that's where I got inspired by President Obama.
What was the reaction then?
The room got really silent and the mic dropped. And from that moment on, I knew it didn't matter what room I was in. It was the stories that I did and that I was proud of. And I did more than I ever imagined that I actually did. I didn't realize it. But we all have a story in us. And it doesn't have to be going to the White House, doing, these epic events. It's not. It doesn't need to be that way, right? And we all have a story. And how I just did this with you, can I share a story? And I really told the story in a way that it's not about me, but we all have a story and never feel out of place because it's your story. Nobody can share your story. And that's what I did. I shared my story. Just like the person talking about stem cells research. I don't know what he was talking about. It was his story. I can't say that story, but it was impressive to me. Tell your story.
Exactly. And when you share that story, I feel it, like, because I was in those situations sometimes when I was about to introduce myself and I felt embarrassed because I didn't look on paper as cool or as successful like the others before me and so on. And in reality, as you mentioned, like every single story, every single life on this planet had a history of experiencing something, living something that can be shared and can be learned from. And often we don't even realize that our modest, let's say, events can be life changing, or in more marketing terms, our origin story.
Right. Our story brand, right?
Exactly.
Donald Miller, story brand. That's our story brand. And that's my story. And that's what gets my attention, other people's attention, rather, because it's real. Nobody else can say it.
Exactly. And what's fascinating about our life and our stories that never stop it never stop happening. Like after you have that part of your story, then other events happen like the pandemic, which adds to your story, adds more value, adds more experience. Then you reinvent yourself and all that. And speaking of that, like how that really look like in real life? Like once you had that call with your coach and you start on this mission, what were your next steps? Because I'm pretty sure those listening or watching can draw some learnings from there and apply into their own life and business.
Yeah. Yeah. Great question. It wasn't that long ago where I actually discovered the answer to that. And psychologically, and talking to my therapist on a monthly basis, what was actually happened when I look back on it. And for somebody like myself, you're listening, you're a creative individual, you're very visionary, big picture thinking, right? That was taken away from me. Like whatever it means, it's just not there anymore. What's going to happen? I didn't have a vision of what's next. If I don't have a big vision of what I'm going to do next, I don't know what to do. I never was in that position before because one event led to the next event. The White House led to bigger clients, more people, better people I'm hanging out with, right? It always led to the next thing. And I always had that vision, but everything stopped. I had no vision. There was no vision. There's no way to go. So those words from my coach about, Scott, why don't you do something about it? Why don't you be this spokesperson? Why don't you go on as many podcasts as you can to spread your word, to help other people, build a photography business? That photography is here to stay. AI, film versus digital, the Polaroids coming out. I've been through this for 4 decades. There's always been a shift in everything. I'm here to say photography's here forever. It's not going to go away. Matter of fact, I believe photography is bigger now than it was in 2019. Do you see Canon going out of business? Do you see Nikon going out of business? No, because there's more people buying cameras because they're doing more creative work. There's more creativity. There's more sharing of images and learning. Learning is faster, going. Just like the medical world and the STEM research guy, right? His technology, that technology movement, that's moving fast, right? Well, this is too. There's no difference. It's not going to go away.
Like especially around memories, right? Like with all this AI slop around us, we'll value even more the real memories of our loved ones, or our parents, our like grandparents, seeing their pictures and so on. And I think not only that, but even for events, real life events, towards which, if you remember after the pandemic, like, and even now, even more, people are craving real life events where actually you connect with a human being, not with someone on Zoom only, or on a screen. And these are just few of the reasons. But apart from that, from a business perspective, for those that are in this creative space, photographers, videographers, like what others reason they have for themselves to believe that there are still room for us?
There's still room for us for many different reasons. We can't look at things that are being taken away, but things that are being added, right? I can't move forward till I let my past go so I can see a bigger future. Same here, exact same example. If we're going to dread on the losses how it used to be in the good old days, we're never going to move forward. Simple as that. Many years back when film and the digital was just coming out, I was just starting my career. I would talk to film photographers. I'm out of this business. It's not going to go anywhere. Digital's taken over. Hey, I was just getting into digital. I was excited. I started from a different point of view. They left. Well, photography is still here. That was 4 decades ago. I'm going to say the same thing. Well, yeah, AI is here. don't have all the answers, but didn't have the answers when digital was just coming out and we were transitioning over to that. We're in the middle of transition. It's a great time. It's a great time because the reset switch has been hit, just like when the pandemic hit. The reset switch was hit and people got to do different things much faster because they get other things stopped. So they got to jump the line, right? This is the same way. This is a big reset.
It is. And I'm actually having a lot of conversation around the topic of AI in the podcast. And most of those that are involved in the topic itself share that we have no idea what to expect in just 12 months from now. But in the same time, if you are adaptable, stay curious, maintain your creativity, and fuel that creativity, I think we have more reason than ever to be thriving and be optimistic about the future. Because at the end of the day, even if this, let's say, technology is stealing our work, maybe we'll have more time to do this type of stuff, like taking pictures. In all honesty, like the camera that I'm recording now, I bought it before I started the podcast for my passion, which is photography. And I think I used it in the last couple of months just once or twice because I'm busy and all that stuff, and I use my phone. But now when I was preparing for this interview, I was like, oh man, I kind of miss just having the camera with me, not my phone, not distraction, and just go out there and shoot. And thank you for that inspiration. And I think like a lot of people can grab that camera, even if it's the phone, it's still creativity, and go out there and be outside, take pictures, and who knows to what that can lead. Maybe a new career, maybe a new pivot, who knows. And on that point, like pivoting, because you did that, what was the biggest challenge? Because you went from someone that had, I think, 52 people around you that work with you towards this moment in time. What was the biggest challenge for you to do things differently?
Well, today I actually embrace the solo entrepreneurship. I kind of joke when I'm on my coaching calls with prospects, and I got a cool little background on video if you're watching on video. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm at my world headquarters in the suburbs of Boston, Massachusetts, in the middle and down in my basement. I'm looking up at pink insulation, and I'm proud of it. I'm a solo entrepreneur, so much opportunity. I mean, there's 8.5 billion people in the world. Plenty of inventory for headshot people. Like, there is no stress.
It's so different.
Embrace it. And I am. I'm embracing it. I mean, I'm here to say that you can make more money doing 100 grand a year, 200 grand, whatever that magic number is for you. It's not a crazy number in today's world, and paying a house and mortgage and you got to do your thing. You can make more money doing $100,000, $200,000 in sales than you do trying to do $1 million. How do I know? Because I've done it before. I've done over $1 million and say, God, I'm not making any more money than I did when I was making 100 grand in my basement. I'm happy I'm back here because there was time, not all the time, right? There was some growth periods, and we're going to go. I was positioned to collaborate, sell the business, go somewhere else. There was a time, there was a season for each thing. And yeah, there was chaos at that time when it was a much bigger company, but it was a season. And I was looking to change seasons to do something else, and that's fine. But right now, at 57 years old, as this is being recorded, you can take everything away from me financially, monumentally, gear-wise. But there's one thing you can't take away from me. It's the stories and my knowledge. And that's what I embrace.
And that's beautiful because indeed, often we don't look at the most important things. And to get back a bit on the perspective of running a big team and making on paper a lot of revenue, but at the end of the day, the money you take home, it's less than when you're a solopreneur. And I hear because I'm a solopreneur as well. Even that I'm basically running the business with my partner, my wife. We don't have full-time employees. We just work with contractors and other providers. And when you don't have that, let's say, responsibility of other people, because if something goes south and you have to, I don't know, say no to a prospect or quit working with a client or losing a client for whatever reason, you end up in a situation in which you have to say to your teammates that, unfortunately we cannot work together anymore. And it's one thing when you work with a contractor that has other projects as well and they're not relying only on you, than a person that you hire and you kind of have a responsibility for them. And yeah, on that note, like I assume it wasn't easy to tell them during the pandemic that you're shutting down the business.
Yeah, I don't think anybody challenged challenged it. I think it was implied, and um, we all got different jobs, and time went on, and I still communicate with some of the people. Um, but it's making that decision of letting go of the past and where do I want to go in the future. Set my future self up, and I made a decision that I want this lifestyle business, and it's called a lifestyle business. Literally, a terminology we use in business, lifestyle business, which is a solo entrepreneur business, laid back business, some people call it, versus a business that you want to scale and grow and sell and big visions. Well, that same person shouldn't have the lifestyle mindset of a business. And that's okay. Those people, we need those people. And that's amazing. So many people doing that. That's great. But your time in your life, what you want to do and how you don't want to do it, you can't don't follow the model of I want to corporate, I want to scale if that's really not the vision. If the vision is to be a solo entrepreneur, embrace being a solo entrepreneur. I don't have to hide it with my client. I still have some of the clients of the New England Patriots. Right now, they're in the middle of the Super Bowl. One of my clients. They know I work from my basement. I don't think anybody really cares, right? Uh, I do something very unique for them. I've been doing it for 15 years in the photography world. It's a great relationship. That's it. And there's nothing to hide, right? I used to hide. I guess we kind of hide it. People want to have this vision, right? We're big, we're running this company, you got Instagram, you got all these people, fancy stuff and everything else. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Are they writing the check to you?
Yeah, so true. And I remember some moments in the past that I was back then. I wasn't even working with my wife. I was working alone. I was like advocating the fact that I have a team and all that. I was like, why I'm doing this? Why I'm afraid to share the reality that yeah, I wear many hats because yes, I'm a generalist, but in the same time, like as solopreneurs, I think when we wear many hats, we can see the big picture and connect dots way better than a specialist at some point. Because a specialist is like focus on a small particular thing, and as generalist, we have that understanding of a bit of marketing, a bit of sales, a bit of that and that, and we can connect dots and sometimes be even more useful than specialist. But on that note, like how many skills you acquire both in your business prior to the pandemic and since you become a solopreneur?
So what skills do you think I acquired? Um, I was always humble, right? I didn't really talk about what I did. And there was times that I'd be in LA, literally with Sylvester Stallone for a photo shoot with Fox. And then literally it had to be the next day, take the red eye, as they call it, to New York City. And I was doing a photo shoot with Andy Cohen. And then from New York City, I would drive back home to Boston. And I'd drive back home and probably in the middle of the night, pull in my driveway, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. And my wife was pulling out of the driveway to go to work. She's a nurse at the hospital, very predictable, very on time. It's scheduled. And so I knew that she would be just about leaving the house when I pulled in. And I got out of my truck and, hi, how are you? How was your week? What'd you do? It was okay. Go help somebody. Go heal somebody. Talk later. Never really said anything to anybody, honestly. I have great stories with Robin Williams and Miley Cyrus and Billy Ray Cyrus that you really get into and you get conversations going with different people. I've never really shared till after I wrote my book, honestly. Very fortunate the conversations that I've had. Being at the White House when it was a shooting at the U.S. Capitol with the president. Really interesting experience having Secret Service come out and helicopters and, people on the roofs with different machinery. That was a whole nother experience. And it's all these great stories that I could go on. And I just actually decided to do every day I write one focus email. It's called the Focus Daily Email. And every day I write a focus email of in the moment, what's going on, and a story, photography story that can help somebody else. And just yesterday, I wrote a story about Bill Belichick. He was the former coach of the New England Patriots here in the United States. Doesn't matter where you are in the world, you've probably heard the name Bill Belichick. Perhaps. No, maybe.
But I heard about New York
maybe
Patriots.
Same thing. It's all the same.
I watch
If you're around the world,
basketball, but not the NFL. So.
okay. Boston Celtics here in Boston, right? One of my clients as well during that time. Um, he was a head coach. He's very iconic, right? The New England Patriots itself is very iconic. Having a conversation one-on-one with Bill Belichick, and I asked one question. This was part of my yesterday's email that I wrote at the cafe on my iPhone, and it was a photo that I was scrolling through my phone, and I saw this little photo of Bill Belichick, and behind my camera, and it reminded me of that very moment in time I had a conversation with Bill, and I said, Bill, I got to ask you a question. Yeah, sure. What's your question? And I said, how do you get people to stay with your team for so long and not want to leave? Because when you think about Tom Brady, which you probably have heard about that word before, Tom Brady, right? Bill Belichick was Tom Brady's coach, and Tom Brady won, multiple Super Bowls. But Tom Brady stayed with the New England Patriots for a decade, right? So many years, and so many other people stayed, right? Yeah, they were winning, but they weren't before. And he goes, yeah, it's real simple, Scott. Stay the course. Come up with a game plan and stay the course. Nope. Of course, if you ever watch the press conferences, he's not much of a motivation speaker. But, no big hype, no big story, just no fluff. Stay the course. Come up with the game plan. Stay the course.
Because often simplicity wins, right? And if you're not getting derailed by distractions or even sometimes opportunities designed as distractions, you'll much more easier win rather than like, oh, maybe we should implement this or that. And especially in sports, I think there is a, speaking of sports, there is a performance specialist in cycling that was inventing this incremental 1% improvement for the cycling team of Sky Sports that won, I think, a couple of Tour de France and so on. And that was their goal, to improve their performance just by 1% every single day. And that compounds. And yeah, I think often these small things that we see and take for granted, like having a direction, stay on the course, don't get off rail, it's so underrated. But often, as you know, you might need to pivot, you might need to take a new course. From your experience, like what you're avoiding or what you're looking for to avoid in order to not get derailed when you pivot, you choose a path, and then things pop up randomly.
It's an interesting question. And I was talking to somebody about this the other day. Okay. If I can share a short story again. Okay. And visually, if I can explain this as you listen to this, is we have these ideas as entrepreneurs, and we're at the top of that hill. Imagine yourself right on top of the hill. And this is going to work. This is it. This is the idea. It's going to blow up. We've all been there, right? And then we go into it and we work into it and we progress in it. But we're slowly sliding down this hill. Things are going a little bit slower, not as much confidence. And then kind of hit the bottom of that valley, right? The bottom of the hill. And you're like, maybe it wasn't such a good idea. Maybe I'm wrong. And you don't stay the course and you stop. And then time goes on. You do something else. And then you got to start the ride all over again. Top of the hill, super excited. And then you slide down the hill. You're like, no, this is terrible. Bad idea. And you find yourself repeating that cycle over and over again. And all you're doing is stalling your time versus being at the bottom of that valley and do the hard part, which is actually climbing up Mount Everest, climbing back up that hill. You slide down real fast. Now you got to go back up. But manage yourself to go back up that summit and know exactly where you want to go. The pinpoint summit of Mount Everest, for example. You know all that hard work is, you know exactly where you're going to go. That's where we need to be. If you're like, nah, I'm out, and you find yourself with this pattern of feeling uncomfortable about moving forward, going back up that hill to get to the pinpoint top of that summit, Mount Everest, I'm here to say, stay the course. Like Bill Belichick, one of the best coaches in the world. Stay the course. You get to the top. And everybody, the New England Patriots, right now, as we record this, they're going to the Super Bowl once again because they stayed the course. And right now, they're just about right at the tip of Mount Everest. That's where we need to be.
And how much is belief compared to skills and at the same time experience? Because often I met a lot of people that they truly believe in themselves. They truly believe that, all right, that's the pinpoint, that's my direction. But then at some point, they still derail or they still stop. Even that they truly believe it. That was the first thing. It's only belief or is something else? Skills, experience matter as well, or?
Yeah, well, the real question is, why do we stop? Why do we stop that belief? We stopped the belief, and that's why we stopped. What made us stop? What made us not think to go further? What made us not stop to go that extra step? There was something in the way that stopped you. And that's what we have to look at. So when the next time comes, what stopped you? Did you just feel uncomfortable? Because you got to, in this line of work, being an entrepreneur, you got to start feeling comfortable with being uncomfortable. And did you just feel uncomfortable? What was it at that moment in time? Figure that out for the next time.
Let's get tactical here. Since one of the reasons, let's say entrepreneurship, one of the reasons most people quit this path and they go back to a full-time job or they do something else is that, let's say they have this big idea, they start a business, they got some traction, they're on track, and at some point they simply run out of money or run out of clients. So the typical entrepreneurship problems. And what's your take on that? Like what they should do, or what will be the suggested approach when they end up in that situation in which you're like, all right, so I am out of money. I need to feed my family. I cannot continue like this otherwise. So I need to go back and find a full-time job. That's their, at least on in the moment, the answer. What would be your take in that situation or your approach in that situation?
Well, I get it. Go back to work. Feed your family first, right? Do what it takes. But what time you come home? 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock at night. You still have from 6, 7, put the kids to bed, 8 o'clock to 1 in the morning to get back on track, to figure out what can you do better, to rebuild. It doesn't end. There's still time. The goal isn't, people fail because they didn't make it to where they want to go. They failed because of the timelines they give themselves. So if you want to like do $1 million in 1 year and man, I didn't make it, damn it. Well, maybe you just didn't really have the timeline planned correctly. Because you can do $1 million in 10 years. Now, it sounds simple, but I really mean it. What's the time limit did you give yourself? Because I don't know about you, but I do much better under pressure. I'm like Tom Brady, if you're a Patriots fan from Boston. He would always win the game at the last minute, right? Kind of pull that win off, right? And that's a lot of entrepreneurs. That's the ADHD in us, right? You give us a deadline, we're in, we're good. But we need the deadline, right? So when I give myself a deadline, I'm going to meet it. I'll beat it. I'm going to be like Tom Brady. I'm going to win before the end of the game, before that time runs out. That's where I do my best work.
Yeah, that's interesting because often people don't give themselves that. They don't give themselves a deadline or a clear direction. And yeah, when it comes to a real timeline, that's another thing that I often see, that is in reality, we see all this noise around us, like, oh, I'm gonna help you make 6 figures, 7 figures, and whatever in I don't know, like 30 days, 60 days, which obviously is not realistic. And when you see that, or people bragging about the fact that, and I think the traditional one is the Stripe screenshot. Oh, look how much I made this month, and so on. And what type of quote unquote coaches, because I cannot call them true coaches or consultants, are distracting real people that truly want to succeed from the realities of the entrepreneurial world, in which things are not linear, things are not going smooth all the time. As you mentioned, you have to climb the hill, go down at some point, yeah, climb again, and at some point you succeed. But if you want to be some sort of overnight success, I love to say that every overnight success is like 10 years in the making. So that's the reality, and people should understand that before they quit and they just don't look back again.
That's they get discovered. Can't speak. Um, because of they see other people and they're like, oh, they'll never get there. It'll never be me. But I'm here to say, from talking to a lot of photographers individually, that the screenshot that you see that did 100K in 30 days, he probably did. He's not lying. I'm sure he did. But here's the question: what was his ad spend? 95,000? That's the question. Like, what was his ad spend? What did it take? I mean, I'm a guy that did over $1 million in sales in my photography business one year. What's my profit margin? 12%. Big deal. Made 120 grand. Did $1 million sales. So what? You know, and that day, Mike, I never forget. I was sitting in the office, my accountant, and trying to explain to him that we did $1 million, and then kind of explain to him that, well, we only have 12% profit margins. And like, he goes, how's that feel? I said, well, look at the numbers right now as I'm talking to you. Not good. Right. And no, it's not good. Right. I mean, all that work, all that effort, all that risk. And that's what I try to do in the program. Right. If you don't measure it, you can't track it. Right. And you could do $200,000 and make $150,000 a year. Sounds pretty good, right? $200,000 is manageable. I'm going to say you can do it. Right? That's manageable. But are we tracking it? Do we have timelines? What is the timeline?
Yeah, exactly. Because you mentioned like data will tell you what works and what doesn't. And when it comes to money, like if you don't track that, and I did a mistake at the beginning of my entrepreneur journey. I had no idea how much time, how much money I spent on various things, like from tools to others. And I was like, how come I make this much and I end up with almost nothing at the end of the day? And like classic newbie mistake. But yeah, it's so important to track this. And speaking of your program, and can you share a bit behind the scenes on how you help people and who is your ideal client?
Yeah. So first, I can't help everybody. It's only me. I run a solo entrepreneur business. So I'm clear about it. So when they get on the call with me, it's really me because it's me. So that right there, they expect something else, right? Sometimes I will have somebody take my calls, but it's me because I want to make sure the person on the other line of that on the other side of that camera is somebody that can actually help, because I can't help everybody. That's the first thing I try to do. The second thing is where are they? Where are they in their mindset? Are they even coachable? I don't want to overuse the word coachable, but I'm going to be a consultant and advisor for you. I'm going to be your fractional CEO to help you make decisions to move forward. Are you open to that? Some people are not. That's okay. I can't help you, right? That's cool. That's fine. But the person that really has this vision, that needs help, that can appreciate the conversations, I can help them move forward. Just sometimes it doesn't take much, a couple of small changes, perhaps. Most times what I find is micro learning, and in the program every week, we have micro learning. Right? I'm not a big fan of big education and courses and programs and watching videos. It's none of that, right? But I know how I learn. It's micro learning. Give me the facts, no fluff. If I do these 5 steps this week, do the 5 steps. See, just show up and do the 5 steps, right? Or whatever that may be, right? Because a lot of people don't. They don't do the work. How many people have purchased a course, spent thousands of dollars, and never finished the whole entire program? or even started for that matter. I think the stats are like in the 90%. People never fit. They never watch the whole program. They never finish it. So I, like my coach said, Scott, why don't you do something about it? Well, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to help anybody. I'm just selling something to make money. Where I'm going to actually help, if I can actually help with you each week to be accountable, to show up, I know, do these things. I don't know all the answers, but I will say, if you show up, we're going to make some movement. So just show up.
Yeah, and often that's the most important thing, right? Because as you mentioned, like people purchase courses, purchase other things, and they never complete them. But if you have someone alongside you that help you execute and help you show up every single day, then changes start to happen and improvement and direction, it's clear, and you don't, I don't know, over every single step. And where can those listening that resonate with this can get in touch and connect with you and work with you?
So it's named after my book called Camera Focus. Find that on Amazon, or go to camerafocus.com and you can find more about the program, or simply have something called, just have a coffee call with me. I have something called 3 o'clock coffee. Just no pressure. Just have a 3 o'clock coffee call, just like I reached out to you. And here we are. We had a call and you responded. I just want to have a conversation with you.
Awesome. And the links will be down below as well. And before we conclude, I would like to ask you another question. What will you say to someone that is in the situation that you were in the pandemic, losing everything overnight and like not knowing back then what to do? What do you tell them?
Talk to somebody. I don't care who it is. Don't go hide. You got to talk to people, whoever it may be. Don't do it alone. You can't do it alone. No matter, that goes for any problem you have in your life. It's hard, literally, to do it by yourself. Whatever problem you have right now, mental health is big. Whatever it takes to talk to the right people. It doesn't have to be mom, dad, friends, family, somebody you love. Sometimes they just tell you something just because they want to just kind of, it'll be okay. You really want to talk to somebody that can give you an honest opinion, honest answers, give you the right direction. Be careful who you ask, but make sure you ask somebody.
This was Scott Proposki on Authority in the Wild. And if this conversation made you think differently about the way you see business and reinventing yourself, make sure to share it with someone that will benefit from it. And if these are your type of conversation, you know what to do. Subscribe to not miss the next one. I'm Gabe Marushka, and until next week, see you in the wild.